What if I told you that the way you've been taught to learn is, well, fundamentally broken? And what if there was a science-backed method to master anything you want, a new language, coding, an instrument, 3 times faster? Well, that's exactly the playbook we're breaking down today. You know the feeling, right? We've all been there. You spend hours, maybe days, watching a tutorial, reading a book, sitting through a lecture, and you feel like, okay, I've got this. But then a week goes by and it's just gone. Poof. That information just vanishes. It is so frustrating, and it can really make you wonder if you're just not good at learning. But here's the good news. It's not you. The problem isn't your brain. Your brain is an incredible machine. The problem is the method. Most of us were taught to learn in a way that's completely inefficient. But we can fix that. And this right here, this gets to be absolute heart of the issue. Most of us are stuck in what you could call the learning trap. We're stuck on the left side, passive input. We're just reading, watching, listening, hoping that all this information will magically sink in. But the real secret, where the magic actually happens, is on the right side, active output. Real lasting learning happens when you stop just consuming and you start doing, practicing, explaining things out loud, creating something new. So the big question is, how do you make that shift? I'm about to show you a 3-pillar system that is so effective, it honestly feels like you found a cheat code for your brain. This is all about learning smarter, not just harder. Our first pillar is going to be your new secret weapon. It's called the 80-20 rule. This is how you cut through all the noise and focus only on the stuff that actually delivers results. Now, you've probably heard of this in the business world, but let me tell you, it is an absolute game changer for learning. The principle is shockingly simple. A tiny fraction of your effort, just 20% of it, is responsible for 80% of your results. This is the first key to unlocking rapid learning. Just think about that for a second. That massive, disproportionate impact. Your goal is not to learn 100% of a topic. I mean, who has time for that? It's overwhelming and it's totally inefficient. Your real goal is to find that critical 20% of the knowledge that will give you 80% of the skill. So, okay, how do you find this critical 20%? It's a 3-step process. First, you identify the core components of the skill. So for learning Spanish, that's not every single word. It's the 500 most common words that let you handle like 80% of daily conversations. For guitar, it's the 4 chords used in thousands of pop songs. Second, you find those fundamentals that deliver the biggest punch. And third, you focus 80% of your precious practice time on mastering just that vital 20%. All right, so you found that critical 20%. Awesome, but how do you make sure it actually sticks around in your long-term memory? Well, that brings us to our second pillar, active recall. This is the antidote to forgetting. Think of active recall as the mental version of going to the gym. Passively rereading your notes, that's like watching somebody else lift weights. It doesn't do you much good. Active recall is when you force your brain to pull that information out from memory. You're testing yourself, making those neural pathways fire and get stronger. Yeah, it's a bit of a struggle, but that struggle is exactly what makes the memory stick. I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? You would never expect to become a great dancer just by watching videos of other people dancing, would you? Of course not. You have to get up and actually practice the moves yourself. Learning is exactly the same. You have to practice retrieving the information to truly make it a part of you. Which brings us to our final and maybe the most powerful pillar of them all. How do you know, like really know, if you've truly mastered a concept? Well, you put it through the ultimate stress test, the Feynman technique. The entire technique, named after the brilliant physicist Richard Feynman, really just boils down to this one simple challenge. If you cannot explain an idea in simple, clear terms, then you don't really understand it yet. It forces you to get past all the jargon and fancy words and really confront the true core of a concept. So here's how it works in 4 easy steps. 1, pick your concept. 2, try to explain it out loud as if you were teaching it to a 10-year-old. Use really simple language, no jargon. 3, the second you stumble, or you have to use a complicated word, bingo, you've just found your knowledge gap. That's the gold right there. And 4, go back to your material, fill that gap, and then try to simplify your explanation again. You just repeat that until it's smooth and effortless. So, we have these 3 incredibly powerful pillars. How do they actually work together? Well, this is your playbook for rapid mastery. This is the system that turns you from a passive observer into an active creator of your own knowledge. And here it is, the whole system in one place. You start with the 80-20 rule to figure out the most important stuff, which saves you a ton of time. Then you use active recall to burn that critical information into your long-term memory. And finally, you use the Feynman technique to test your understanding and make sure you've achieved true mastery, not just shallow familiarity. See? It's a powerful, continuous learning loop. So if you take away just one thing from all of this, let it be this. Learning is not consumption, it is creation. It's all about doing, testing, and explaining. The moment you truly make that shift in your mind, everything changes. And that really brings us to the final and most important question. Now that you have the playbook, now that you have the cheat code, what skill are you going to go out and master first?